Talk, shop, pop, movies.
Ahoy there, this is Derek, the Convicted Cinephile, and if you're a convicted cinephile yourself, please like, share, and subscribe to the channel down below. On my channel, I like to talk, shop, and pop open, that is, movies and physical media. And today I have yet another Oscarology video. That's what I do at the moment. Gotta do something before the Guild nominations this week, and the Golden Globes, and the Critics' Choice Awards, and all that other fun stuff that I actually have to, react to and get excited for. But if you've been enjoying these videos, thank you very much. I always say it's the videos you actually put effort into that nobody watches, but the ones of you that are watching these are actually commenting, and I appreciate it. So thank you. Thanks for coming back. And here is this video. I wanted to do one that I thought of while making another video, you may remember, about discontinued Oscar categories. Oscar categories of Oscars past, I call it, and possibly the future, yes. We have some rejected categories to go over as well that almost were. So that's kind of interesting too. I found those out. In the last, 94 years of the Oscars, there have been a plethora of weird categories that are no longer relevant or were implemented for very short periods of time for various reasons. And we'll get into that a little bit too. And whether it's due to, the surge of color film making black and white, almost irrelevant, where they had to separate color and black and white categories, things like that, or just pathetically trying to make the public happy in pathetic ways. We'll get into that too. Let's get into the discontinued categories first. Like I said, there are a lot of them. Most of them are from the very, very early days of the Oscars. I'm actually going to go through them chronologically from the earliest they started, whether or not they lasted very long. So we'll get into that, and here they go. The Oscars of categories past were 1927. Like I said, the old days, the first Oscars had a lot of weird categories. These ones aren't so weird as much as they are just kind of redundant, I'd say. They had Best Director for a Comedy Picture and Best Director for a Dramatic Picture, which now obviously we just have Best Director. We don't segregate the two, I guess. Once again, 1927, 1928, and those were only effective in this year. The first four, I'm going to say, were only the very first Oscars. Best Title Writing for 1927 to 28, which in the silent era, seems a relevant enough Oscar, but, once sound kicked in, the next day, not so much anymore. Best Unique and Artistic Production, which Sunrise, I believe, was the movie that won that award. It was like the Best Picture that was prettier than it was good, I guess, award, which would kind of now be what the Best Director award has become, where it goes to the visual epic film. But Sunrise is also on the AFI Top 100 films of all time. I have it on DVD out there. So those were just the very first Oscars. This one started at the first Oscars, but went through 1956. And it came up in a lot of the videos I've been doing. Best Original Story. So they'd have Best Original Story and Best Original Screenplay. They were smart and eventually just decided to do Best Adapted Screenplay and Best Original Screenplay, because the story is the part of the screenplay. If the story's so good, should it win Screenplay? I don't know, it's weird. It makes sense, in the silent era, I guess, just to say Best Story, because there's no real dialogue writing as much, because you have the title writing. But in the 50s, it's you don't need that anymore. 1931 through 1935, this is for the next two. Best Short Comedy, so some love for shorts. I like that, actually. Best Short Subject Novelty, whatever the hell that is. Maybe it's animated or something, unless animated was its own thing. 1932 through 1937, they had a Best Assistant Director Oscar, which is kind of cool. The assistant directors don't get enough love, I guess. That's what I like about the DGA Awards, which the nominees come out this week. They award the entire directing team, not just the main director, which is cool. 1934 through 1960, this was a special award they gave out for the Juvenile Award. So if there's, a little kid in a movie that was really good, they'd give them what would have become a meaningless Oscar at this point. 1935 through 1937, so this one didn't last very long. Best Dance Direction, so that's interesting. 1936 through 1956, this is for the next two. We have Best Short Subject 1 Reel and Best Short Subject 2 reels. So Best Short Film and Best Really Short Film in layman's terms, I guess. And then 1936 to 37, so spanning 2 years, best short subject, color. So I suppose after, they were like, why bother after that? The saddest one that I should still exist is this one. 1963 through 2019, they just got rid of this one. Best sound editing. They have remerged the sound editing and sound mixing categories into just sound, which simplifies things, but it sucks for the sound editors or sound mixers who would have been nominated for their work if members of the Academy knew the difference between sound editing and sound mixing a little bit better. Because the people who do the nominations often get it right. I'll say often. Hence, La La Land being nominated for Best Sound Editing, which shouldn't have happened, because there's no sound editing in that movie. And Bohemian Rhapsody, which won for sound editing, which once again shouldn't have been nominated because there is no sound editing in that movie. Lots of sound mixing, no sound editing. So, yeah. Bohemian Rhapsody destroyed the category. They're just like, screw it. After that, why bother anymore? So I think the last movie to win Best Sound Editing was 1917. Ford versus Ferrari. I mixed the two up. 1917 won sound mixing, and Ford versus Ferrari won sound editing, I believe. Yes, because it won film editing and sound editing. So 1917, or Ford versus Ferrari, excuse me, is the very last sound editing winner. Hopefully they bring that one back, though. I like the two sound categories. I don't know, I'm a dork. Or at least replace the category with another good category, which is something I'll get into in a minute, too, actually. Once again, I referred to categories of Oscars past and potentially the future. Yes. So I thought it'd be interesting to look at the proposed categories that we've had over the years that were rejected. Some, I'm glad, because some of them are really stupid. Some of them really should be categories. I'm just going to say that. The Board of Governors apparently meets every single year to discuss potential new categories, and very, very few apparently have been approved, I guess, over the years. So this one absolutely should probably have its own category. Best casting. They have it at the BAFTAs. Why not at the Oscars? It was rejected in 1999. I'm surprised they haven't tried to do that more often. Because the casting branch of the Academy, it's a branch of the Academy, is the only Academy branch that does not have an Oscar category. I don't get it. Because it's like, yeah, they have acting awards, but it'd be cool if the casting director who cast all these actors got the award as well for something. That's good. That'd be a good one to have. It would have been a good thing to replace sound editing going away. I'll just say that. This one was a pathetic thing that came up a couple years ago. Best Popular Film, proposed in 1918 to be at the 2019 awards, and then they postponed it to 2020, and then they still haven't done it yet. They sort of half-assed it last year with that stupid Best Oscar Moment movie thing, and just so Spider-Man could try to win, and all the Zack Snyder fanboys totally destroyed that thing and made that god-awful zombie movie he did win, which I thought was hilarious because it just shows that they just just totally destroyed the thing to their own advantage. So I don't think they're going to be doing that again. Best Popular Film, while it sounds nice, it's like, you might as well just give the award to the highest grossing movie of the year at that point. Why even nominate anything? It's like, isn't the most popular, best popular film the one that made the most money? The logic. I mean, this year you might argue between Avatar and Top Gun, and maybe give it to Top Gun because it was a better reviewed movie on top of it. But most years it's like, yeah, Spider-Man, it made up $1 jillion. So hopefully that never happens. There's the People's Choice Awards for that, okay? Let the people who don't have good taste have their own award show. This one also absolutely needs to be a category. It is a category at the Screen Actors Guild Awards, but is not at the Oscars. Bent. I combined two words. Best Stunt, Bent. Coordination, rejected every single year from 1991 to 2012. So they tried to have this become a category for over a decade, every single year, and apparently they just gave up 10 years ago. There absolutely should be a Best Stunt Oscar. That would be the coolest category. Like I said, the Screen Actors Guild has it. They have a Best Stunt Ensemble award, and that's awesome. It usually goes to a big action movie like Black Panther or Mission Impossible or something like that. This year, I assume it's going to go to Top Gun because it's freaking real jet pilots flying real jets around with cameras and shit. And Best Title Design, rejected in 1999. So that would be like an opening credit sequence Oscar, basically, which is kind of cool to think of. I like the idea of it, but a lot of movies don't even have title sequences or designs anymore. It's like, it seems like that. So it's kind of either every single movie would be forced to have like a title design if they gave a shit about trying to get nominated for this, I should say. So like movies that don't have opening credits and would be weird with them would start having them, and I don't know, you just get unnecessary elaborate title designs. So I can understand why they shouldn't have it for that reason, but it would be kind of interesting to see what people would come up with, because I always like good opening credit sequences, because they don't do them that much anymore. That would have been a good one for like the 60s, when they actually had opening credits on every movie, because they didn't have end credits on every movie way back in the day. All right, and okay, this one. The third and final part of this video is dedicated to one single category. A category sometimes, like, will get renamed a little, like Best Actor or Best Actor in a Leading Role, or Best Lead, you know what I mean? Like, it's the same thing, but they just changed the wording. Or Best Foreign Film to Best International Film. Recently got a name change for the better, I would say. So I get that. It happens. But the musical score category has had so many variations over the 94 years of the Oscars, and I love musical scores, so who doesn't? So they're getting its own category, even in this video. It's ridiculous how many there are. So I'm going to take a sip of coffee here and then get started. This one's for you, Tim. Okay. Music score variations. Non-musical scores. Best score in a dramatic picture, 1942. Best musical score for a dramatic or comedy picture, 1943 to 1962. Best musical score, substantially original, 1963 to 1966. Best original music score, 1967 to 1968. Best original score for a motion picture, not a musical, 1969 to 1970. Best original score, 1971, 1976 through 1995, and 2000 through today. So that's what it's currently called, Best Original Score. Best Original Dramatic Score, 1972 to 1975, and 1996 through 1999. Part 2, Musical Scores. Best Scoring of a Musical Picture, 1942 through 1962. Best Scoring of Music, Adaptation or Treatment, 1963 to 1968. Best Score of a Musical Picture, Original or Adaptation, 1969 through 1970. Best Original Song Score, 1971. Best Scoring, Adaptation, and Original Song Score, 1972 to 1973. Best Scoring, Original Song Score and Adaptation or Scoring Adaptation, 1974 through 1976. Best Original Song Score and Adaptation or Adaptation Score, 1977 to 1978. Best Adaptation Score, 1979. Best Original Song Score and its Adaptation or Adaptation Score, 1980 and 1983. Best Original Song Score or Adaptation Score, 1984. Best Original Song Score, 1985. Best Original Musical or Comedy Score, 1996 through 1999, which was basically created for the sole fact that the Disney Renaissance was happening and winning every single score Oscar there was, so they separated it into its own category until the Disney Renaissance finally ended at the end of the 90s. Once again, my name is Derek, the Convicted Cinephile. Please like, share, and subscribe to the channel. And I have an upcoming live stream where I will be pitting the 1990s Academy Award Best Picture nominees against each other. This Thursday, the 12th at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time.
Talk, shop, pop, movies.